So Vaya, that is where, this is where the Terhi used to be. Now where there's a lake is where Terhi was.
Yeah, this is the point where two rivers used to meet. It was a Sangam, the meeting point of Bhilangana, which used to come from that side, and Bhagirathi.
Mm-hmm.
So Bhagirathi and Bhilangana, they met and they made Ganges, Ganga. And so there was a whole township where the old king's seat was there, Vikram Shah, and his palace and his whole township, that was all submerged into water, made into a big lake, more than 42 square kilometers of lake. And it's one of the most inhuman, I would say, insane acts of this civilization.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
Like how many villages and people and towns have been displaced?
Several. There is a lot of data for that, both in Bhilangana and Bhagirathi. And in fact, they are having plans to displace many, many more people. And we, in fact, all of us, we talk about human beings and their displacement. And
Right.
we don't even talk about animals and the birds and the bees and the species,
Right.
other species of living beings, the flora and fauna.
Punches so many holes in the ecosystem.
Yeah,
It does.
that's true.
And it doesn't even produce half as, what, it produces 1,000 megawatts?
Yeah, they don't give an idea, but it is not producing what they had planned, much below that. And they are using this water for basically taking it to Delhi and the big cities at the lean periods, because the mega cities are growing and they have to provide water to the big cities. So that's this thing, that's mainly the purpose of this damming. Not the power actually, which they had originally planned to do.
So they're trucking the water out.
But the point is, who gives these people right to destroy some people's age-long, livelihoods, their lives?
So who signs the paper that says they get the permission?
This is all, now they say it's national interest, no? In the national interest they do everything. And this nation has been formed just 60 years back. So a 60-year-old nation can decide what it wants to do with the age-old, centuries-old civilization. And that's what they're doing everywhere. Tehri is one case.
Right.
And they have declared the entire Uttarakhand state as energy state, they call it, Urja Pradesh.
Right.
So they are damming all the rivers. They're destroying all the rivers.
558 dams to come.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And 22 lakh of people being displaced?
Would be displaced if they fulfill all their satanic dreams that they have.
Right. And the quarter of the state's people. But again, you forget about the people. It's the ecosystem.
The entire ecosystem. It's the flora, fauna, the animals, and everything.
Amazing. Now up there on the ridge
That's now, and it's crazy thing. They make a whole township up there, up to the height of 7,000 feet, where they have to pump up water.
Right.
And
Pump the water to 7,000.
It's really crazy. For which they need energy, and then most of the times there is no power, and the people are protesting. It's really very stupid. They have crazy ideas. And then it's very cold there. Down there in the valley, it used to be a beautiful valley of, it was supposed to be, it was called as the paddy bowl of this Terhi region,
The what?
The paddy bowl.
Oh, paddy bowl.
There was
the
so
rice.
much, the rice bowl.
Achha.
There was so much of rice and so many other varieties of grains that they were growing in this valley, beautiful valley. When we used to go to Uttaranchal, we used to go, there was a nice little road, both sides there were farms. It's very nostalgic to even think of that.
Right.
And now they want to do tourism here.
Tourism? Like,
I don't know really what ideas they have. City people would come from Delhi and other places, say, wow, what a lake, maybe do boating or something. It's really, I have no idea what they've done to people. I've seen when the first time it was
So
flooded,
the water in here now doesn't look
local
as bad,
people
but
came
it's
and
still
wept, you know. They were weeping, just looking at their farm.
People were weeping, of
Yeah,
course.
because of course. Even if you give them compensation, they've been living there for centuries, you know, especially the women who remember their forests, their farms, their land, which has been there, their temples. Several hundreds of temples have been drowned, you know, with which people had their attraction. Especially this was a very sacred place, you know. That's why the king had made the seat of this as a seat of its power.
Right, of all the places.
All the places, and they had this was the meeting point, the sangam of two rivers, which is always called very sacred
Right.
in our mythology. So the sangam is over. Now they have put it inside a tunnel, the lake. Unbelievable.
And so 558 more dams,
Yeah.
all this concrete, all this construction. And who's getting all this, who's making all the money off this?
You see, there's a big multinational lobby. The World Bank and IMF sponsored, ADB sponsored programs, which are basically they have bought all the corporate sector has bought all the governments, you know. They are contractors. There is a big nexus between the contractors, multinational companies who promote big dams to sell their obsolete technology which they are dismantling in the West. So they don't care for, you know, they're dumping this technology which they have already tried and failed. They are dismantling in the West. Now they are promoting in the Asian region, just for their economic gains.
And it's all a seismic region as well.
Yeah, this is high seismic zone region. Everybody says, the government departments, the geological, what they call, there is a special cell, Department of Science and Technology, and it's called Himalayan Institute of Himalayan Geology. They have several reports saying that it's a high seismic zone, it's a risky thing to make big dams in this area. There could be earthquakes, more big, of higher size, bigger scale, because of these dams, because it will have the load and it will have different repercussions on the seismicity of this area. So there could be bigger, and just not as far. 91 there was an earthquake here.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it should have been stopped. Up to Uttaranchal, Bhatwari, all these areas, there's, people were affected. There were so many people died because of that. Houses destroyed.
And Baya, what are people doing? Like people who want to fight this, what are they doing to fight it? Like how?
People have been protesting, people have been opposing this, bringing out reports, campaigning, whatever they could do with their little sources and strengths. But to fight the corporate and the mafia and the system is very difficult, you know. But they are doing in their ways. It's difficult. We all protested against this, but still it has come up. So it's very sad to see, you know. They break the whole society. They divide them into, you know, different groups, bribe people, and I don't think they have ever had anywhere where these big dams have come up consensus from the people.
Right.
Women are not asked. Even if compensation comes, it goes to the men, you know, in their accounts. And what happens to the landless people? You know, there are a big chunk of people have been landless workers in the farms who have lived for generations. No compensation is being paid to these people.
Right.
Because they don't hold any patta, any land deed.
Right.
So that's very, you know, they become landless laborers. Elsewhere they go in slums in the cities and left open to die. Don't go very far.
Any documentaries or films being made
Oh
about
yes,
this?
there are quite a few films made on this. On Terhi also. Nothing. They don't listen to anything.
Does it get shown nationally?
Yeah, it has been shown several times. We have not in the Doordarshan, the national network, because after all that is all controlled by the state.
But as far as like cinemas that any local person would see their general movie in, where they get shown in these theaters?
Not in theatre. We've done it privately. The shows have been done and these films have been circulated, but not really that way. Let's have tea. You can call them.
Yeah.
ठीक भैया